The Honourable Premier. That's the Honourable Premier.
I would just like to say that I'm absolutely tired of hearing the opposition criticize every single thing that we throw their way. If you want us to change our opinion, please offer us a solution. Where do you want us to take the money from? Where? You just keep complaining and complaining. You not once told us where we can take the money from. I want to know. If you want us to make all these changes, you want us to put money into every single one of these programs to help boost the economy, where are we taking the money from? And you mentioned possibly looking at taking money from healthcare. It's not just taking 1 or 2% away. It's not taking a little fraction of the money. If you want us to help every industry in the province, it's going to be more than just a little bit of money from each sector. Where do you want the money to come from? You ask us about our money tree? Where's yours? Where do you want this money to come from? Please.
Thank you. Order, please. The member from Cape Breton South.
Mr. Speaker, before I begin, Mr. Speaker, this government has made things a little bit dizzy here, so today I am a little bit dizzy, and I'm very disappointed in this government. Mr. Speaker, the livelihood of people is on the line. That is what we should be worried about. I hope they know that people will be laid off if they allow these businesses which fail because of no fault of their own, but they just simply fail because of bad circumstances. I hope they know that these businesses have people, these people will be laid off, these people will go into poverty. Mr. Speaker, V for Vendetta once said war, crime, disease. Well, I ask you, poverty, unemployment, crime rate? Mr. Speaker, we could pretty much have chaos on our hands. When unemployment goes up, Mr. Speaker, there's less buying power. The economy will crumble, Mr. Speaker. Poverty goes up, Mr. Speaker, the crime rate increases. Poverty goes up, there's no money to buy drugs. Disease becomes disease becomes extensive. Mr. Speaker, these are very serious issues. And the government keeps, the Honourable Premier, who I respect ever so much, said that we keep on negating him. Well, need I remind him that that is the job of the opposition? Our job, the opposition has a job, has a duty to criticize the government, not to praise the government, because if the government is doing good, then you're doing your job, so we don't need to say anything about it. So, but this time, Mr. Speaker—
Order, please. The member's time has expired. I call upon the honourable member from Lunenburg West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do believe the representative from Cape Breton South made a point about people losing money and going into poverty. But you see, people pay into unemployment when they have jobs. When they will lose their jobs, they will just be sucking money out. This isn't the government's thing. Like, we don't provide the money for unemployment. Everybody does their part for unemployment off of their paycheck. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. The member from Hants East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For the last 2 hours or so, the Blue Party has made several statements suggesting that we, the Orange Party, would like to suck money out of healthcare and education so as to pay for small business bailouts. I'd just like to point out that perhaps if the Blue Party would provide more careful budgeting, that would not be necessary. Furthermore, in concurrence with my colleague, the Leader of the Opposition, I would be interested to know if the Blue Party would be willing to come to my riding of Hants East to speak to my constituents and tell them that they will not provide bailouts for their suffering businesses, because I am not going to be responsible for leaving my constituents in the dirt. Thank you.
Thank you. The honourable member from Pictou Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we can all agree, probably, we are in an economical crisis, right? And no one saw this crisis coming. That's clear. And so we have no idea on where it's going. If we give loans and monies and financial assistance to groups and they don't do well, we're going to be out that money. And that money has to come from somewhere. It's not in our budget. So we're going to be taking it from somewhere. And we have to realize that. Do you want it to come out of the healthcare, where already people wait in lineups and outpatients? Those people who are out of jobs, if they lose their jobs, how are they going to feel when the healthcare fails them as well? The education system fails them. The police fail them. We can't risk it. It's a risk that we're not willing to take because it's for the betterment of everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. The member from Cole Harbour Eastern Passage.
Mr. Speaker, the government seems to be confused as to its role in this particular debate. You see, unlike the Blue Party, the Orange and Red parties have not proposed a preposterous bill made to limit the government impact on helping small businesses around the province. That is not the opposition's role in this particular debate. The particular bill presented by the members, including the Minister of Justice, unfortunately, we will. And as the polls suggest, the Blue Party has lost its favor of its own constituents and will be replaced soon after.
This House will have order, thank you. We will keep the comments current to the debate at hand because we are on time constraints. Continue.
Speaker. However, I believe that if the government doesn't have confidence in its own bill, as it wants us to back it without their own significant support, how can we support something that they don't even believe in themselves? Obviously, they can't provide an adequate defense to it, so how are we supposed to, as the opposition, accept their poor legislation? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The honourable member for Argyle.
Bring up the fact of my constituency and the largest town is a one industry town which recently has declared bankruptcy. However, people still have their jobs, they have bankruptcy insurance, and that does not mean everyone there is losing their job. And they are not being bailed out. Just because they're not being bailed out does not mean they are all going to lose their jobs. Businesses do go on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The member for Pictou West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to respond to where the money is coming from. The money that this government has comes from taxpayers, and taxpayers, in order to have money to pay the government, need a strong economy. And if half of the businesses in Nova Scotia are not supported by this government and they go out of business, we won't have any more money to put into education and healthcare. Thank you.
The honourable member for King South.